Oh, God. My. You know, sometimes I am bewildered by what happens in a month. Sometimes I'm not. Why did I just click on that? Back to Letterboxd. How's it going, folks? Check out my Letterboxd link down below. Oh my god, let's take a look at what I watched in November. It is currently the 21st that I am filming. So, I have quite a lot to jump into. Holy mother of God. Okay. First up, I started the month off by watching Jason X. I promised I would, and I did. Despite it being like one of the more interesting of the Friday the 13th films, I just didn't enjoy watching it that much this time. I gave it 2.5 stars, but I gave it I don't know, the Scream Factory version looks nice. It weirdly is the replaced disc despite not getting the discs separately, like it's in the replacement one, so I was very happy about that. I hadn't noticed, but because the Scream Factory had issues with 3 of the discs, and I was like, it doesn't matter that much to me, and it's like, I haven't checked the Friday the 13th Part 3 for the 3D titles, but the Jason Goes to Hell and Jason X both were fine, so anyway, it's an okay film. It's like, I don't know. It's not my favorite of the series. It's in the middle, I think, for me, because it's like the most creative in terms of like ideas. Unless you want to go for Jason Goes to Hell, which I actually do kind of prefer as a film, just because I think it's more fun and has great effects. So I don't know. I know it doesn't have Uber Jason though, so it's like, But I did watch Outer Space: The Making of Jason X, which is a 2020 doco, which was on the Scream Factory disc. It was only 33 minutes. They did have another documentary I think I watched. It's good stuff. The special features on these discs are tremendous. So if you're a Friday the 13th fan, get the Scream Factory set. It is wonderful. On the 3rd, I did a double feature. I watched Shin Ultraman, which I actually watched over the course of 2 nights because I got really tired whilst watching it in the first half because nothing was... I don't know. It got to the point about an hour in where it felt like the main story had wrapped, and then it ended, and then it just kept going. And I realized... I know I gave this film 3 stars out of 5, but I realized what the problem with the film is that it's just a compilation of episodes that never existed. Because it was never a TV show, it was only ever movies. Or maybe it was a TV show, it never was movies. I think that's what it was. It was always a TV show and never movies. So this is just what it feels like to have a bunch of episodes of a show compiled into a movie. It's not great. I would suggest it's, I guess, like, it's got some fun kaiju stuff, but it keeps upping itself, like, oh, here's a kaiju, now Ultraman shows up and he has to fight it. Here's another kaiju, now Ultraman shows up and he has to fight it. Now here's an alien, now Ultraman shows up and he has to fight it. Now here's a bigger alien, now it's the same stuff over and over and over again. It's fine. It's just not great as a movie. It's fine if you like the Shin Ultraman stories, which I've never seen a single episode of the show. You would probably love it because you'd be like, yeah, it's exactly like the show. It's like, yeah, but that's also the problem. You know, you look at like Shin Godzilla, which Hideo also did, as like, you'd think, I know his mindset was, I just wanted to make, 6 episodes, but I wanted the budget of a movie, so we're going to compress it into a movie, which is fine because they're like 6 20-minute long episodes. But it's like, it really could have just been an actual movie. It would have been so much better. But apparently Shin Kamen Rider is the same. So I'm not I've lost my interest in watching Shin Kamen Rider now, but I would still like to watch it. I might enjoy it more, knowing what I'm getting into. I watched Final Destination 3. I technically only watched like the second half from the tanning bed sequence onwards because my mates were watching it and I jumped in after I watched the second half of Shin Ultraman. I still like this film. I think it is my favourite. I don't know, it's weird because it's like, the second film is fun and I think is the most fun film of the franchise, but then you look at the third film and you're like, actually... kind of once you get past all the everyone having a funeral and whatever because a bunch of people died in a roller coaster, it just becomes kill after kill after kill after kill after kill. And that part of the movie's great. So I'm like, I mean, sure, the opening is pretty fun with the roller coaster, but nothing will beat the second movie. But yeah, so I'll be honest, it was pretty good. I enjoyed myself. I thought it was fun. I didn't give it a star rating this time because I didn't watch enough of the film to give it a full consensus, because I don't like watching half a film and being like, this is 5 stars. It's like, no, it needs the whole picture. I know I've seen it like 3 times now, but that doesn't matter. Then on the 5th of November, my dad and I actually went to Acme. They were doing this Japanese film festival, showing a bunch of like 35mm prints of a bunch of 60s films by, I think they were all by the same guy, Ko Nakahira. And we watched Only on Mondays from 1964, which I gave 4 stars. I thought it was really good. It was a gorgeous black and white film, a really interesting story, and like just some great stuff happening. A really good film. I definitely suggest it, especially if you like 60s Japanese films. And it's much more of a drama, but it's good. And then they played right after that Danger Pays, which is also known as Danger's Where the Money Is. But on Letterboxd it's called Danger Pays, which was actually released 2 years prior. Same guy who did them both. But I really liked it as well. It was more of a kind of hijinksy action comedy with your, bank robbers and your secret spies and the James Bond kind of stuff. So it was, it was cute. I definitely think Only on Mondays was the better film. It was very fun to watch Danger Pays, especially with an audience. Like, because Only on Mondays was very quiet, and you could hear a needle drop in that room. It was very, very quiet. But then Danger Pays was really fun, and everyone was laughing. It was good. It was good. It was an enjoyable time. I didn't watch the third film that they were showing that night because we had to go home because it was a Sunday. We had to go have dinner and shit. So that's all right. But on Monday, I watched Fools Rush In, which was the DVD release I got. That one with Matthew Perry. I had ordered it the day he passed away because, I don't know, people talking about it on Twitter say it was good. I gave it 3 stars. I'm like, it's still a perfectly commendable romantic comedy, but it is cute. I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. Performances were good. Still basic kind of rom-com-y premise, but it took a different turn that I didn't expect because I didn't really read the premise. I didn't realize it was about a guy who gets a girl knocked up and then he has to like kind of figure out if he wants to woo her, if he wants to keep the job, whatever. But then they like get married immediately after that, and then it's all about the turmoil of just having done that over the next 9 months, or basically over the next like 4 to 5 months. So yeah, it was not what I expected, but it was still really good. Then I watched Psycho 2, and Psycho 3, and Psycho 4. If you want my reviews of these, go check out my Come and Relax talk where I discuss Psycho 1, 2, 3, 4, and 98, which will be on this list as well. But yeah, I enjoyed them all. They were good films. 2 of them I thought were fantastic. 1 of them I thought was kind of meh. Go check out the video. Come Relax talk. Then on the 8th, and that was actually on the 6th and then the 7th, because I did a double feature on the 7th because it was a public holiday. On the 8th and the 9th, I watched Hellraiser 2, Hellbound Hellraiser 2, Hellraiser 3, Hell on Earth. That was a fun triple feature, basically. I think I did a double feature for Hellbound and Hellraiser, Hellbound and Hellraiser 3 on the same day. But Hellraiser was great. I gave it 4 stars. These were all the new 4K scans. I was wanting to do a Come and Relax talk, and I probably should still do one. I don't really know if I will. But I want to talk about all of the films. I don't feel the interest in just talking about 4 of them. And I think my friends have the rest on DVD. I don't know if I really, really want to watch them because I don't really care much for that series of films. Some of them are really good. Some of them are just not. The first one, I think I love the first one. The more I watch it, the more I love its atmosphere, its tone, its characters. It's great. I gave it 4 stars. I gave Hellbound 3.5. I gave it 3 stars last time because I didn't really understand it when I was watching it, and that was in a cinema. But this time the 4K looks tremendous. I understood as a double feature it works really well, so because it does work really well as a double feature. It shows the character arcs growing, the character dynamics changing. Julia in it is fantastic. Christy is great. It's Kirsty. I think it's Kirsty. But yeah, and I like the kind of lack of the main Cenobites. It works for the series. Like, they're not the main villains. It's Julia who's the main villain. But she didn't want to come back for the sequels, so you get Hellraiser 3, Hell on Earth, which I gave 3 stars. I still liked it, because narratively it's very different to the other 2, and it does involve bringing back Pinhead, but but it still works. I think it works quite nicely as its own film. And I did watch the unrated version, with the extra scenes and stuff, which honestly weren't really worth watching, except for because they're in 4:3 standard definition on a 4K disc, which was noticeable in a drop of quality. Usually I don't notice that kind of stuff, but this one I'm like, oh, okay, I see what's happening. It just kind of happened, and I was like, oh shit. The unrated scenes aren't really necessary except for one, which goes into Pinhead's backstory. And it's actually a really interesting sequence that I'm like, wow, I can't believe they cut this whole entire thing out of the movie. It shows how his character was traumatized from World War One, but he was also kind of after something that was similar in that kind of metaphysical pain. It was bizarre. It's interesting to watch for that, even though I don't like that Pinhead's in this movie. So yeah, there's some fun stuff though. I think and some of the characters are great. The best character becomes a Cenobite by the end, and I was disappointed because I was like, oh my god, she's gone from the movie. She's just not there for 20 minutes, and then she shows up and she's a Cenobite, and I'm like, oh shit, yeah, she's great. So that was pretty good. On the Friday, I watched Stop Making Sense, the Talking Heads concert at the Astor, the 4K projection from A24. I've never seen it fully before. I watched half of it, or maybe 40 minutes of it earlier this year after Dad and I went to see Weird Al Yankovic because they played, I think, Psycho Killer, or they played Burning Down a House. I don't remember. They played one of those at his concert. It was one of those, every single concert he plays a different song. That's always a surprise, and that was just a wonderful surprise because I'm like, fuck yeah, I love Talking Heads, so yeah, so we watched the second sight Blu-ray, but then I was really tired, so I went to bed. Never finished watching it. He did, and I was like, I knew the concert was coming out. I want to, wait till it came back at the Astor, so we went and saw it. It was tremendous, even though there was a forced intermission because there was a medical emergency. So, but it was alright. It played half an hour later. We got to finish it. It was glorious. I gave it 5 stars. Something really bad happened because of it, but I'll get into that in a second. On the 11th, I went with my partner to the Cinemaniacs and we watched Fatal Attraction. Phil and Katie were there. It was great. I'd never seen it before. I gave it 4 stars. I really liked it. I don't think... Well, Phil and Katie gave it 3 stars each, which is interesting. But Helene enjoyed herself. She didn't like Glenn Close's character because it reminded her too much of someone that she knew from a previous experience in life. So it was like, okay, so people don't like it because it's triggering, which is fair. I get that with some films as well. So it's interesting. But I thought it was really well performed. And they even showed us the alternate ending at the start, which was kind of funny that they showed us that immediately, and then they're like, oh, don't worry about it. This is the original ending that they didn't go for, which would have been a lot more dramatic and probably better for the film in its original tone, but then the theatrical ending is so much more iconic. So, yeah, it's definitely the better ending. On the 13th, because I had COVID, not great. Dad and I probably got it while we're at the Talking Heads concert, so disappointing. But I watched Hellraiser Bloodline, and I gave it 2 stars. I didn't like it at all. I don't remember most of what happened. It's a poor mix of 3 different movies combined together. It doesn't work. It's uninteresting. None of the characters are interesting. The effects look goofy as shit. They don't look great. The CGI stuff looks like crap. It's fine. It's got a goofiness to it, but they keep cutting to practical effects and then back to digital. And I just don't know why they keep doing that, so it just wasn't great. I wouldn't really recommend it as a film, despite having hellhounds in it. And hellhounds are great, but this just didn't utilize anything well. It was really dull. It almost felt like it forced Pinhead to be in the movie because they just had nothing going. Even the main villain wasn't even much of a villain, and then she basically got defeated by Pinhead with ease, so it's not really worth it. And on the 14th, because I was fixing up the shelf, I realised I had Charlotte's Web on DVD, so I chucked it on. I gave it 3 stars. I haven't seen it in a good long decade and a bit, and I'm like, yeah, I don't really care much for these family films. It's fine. I used to love it as a kid because I loved the book. I loved the movie. I used to play the game. Oh, I used to play the game so much. I remember the game on fucking Game Boy Advance more than I do the actual movie. And the movie's fine. Like, I don't really care much for it. It's fine. It's 3 stars there. But the 3 stars that I did like was Unfriended, which I watched on the Criterion Channel, because I realized it was on the Criterion Channel even at the end of the month. I'm like, I should watch Unfriended. So I watched Unfriended, and I really, really liked it. I had the Blu-ray of the first and second film for like a couple months now. I got them for like $10 each, so I don't really mind watching on the Criterion Channel, because it's like, it's only good to like watch these films on your laptop. The benefit of the Blu-rays is they come with special features and alternate endings and stuff, and alternate ways that other people die and stuff like that. And so, yeah, I thought it was really fun. It's a really interesting style of film. It would be atrocious to watch it in cinema, but watching it on a MacBook works really, really well. And on the Criterion Channel was just so prestigious, it would just made me laugh. So, yeah, I thought it was really fun. I didn't think it'd stick the landing as well, but I do think it worked well for the first hour of it. Because it kept building. I'm thinking, like, oh my god, is this going to be like, what kind of a twist reveal is it going to be? Is it going to be a ghost? Is it going to be someone actually killing them one by one? Is it all a prank like April Fool's Day? Just a ghost. They went with the lamest possible ending imaginable. And it's like, it's a good idea, though. The idea of us, not exactly a cyber ghost, but like the ghosts of someone that has passed away, but like it's their digital ghost. It's a clever idea. It's an interesting idea. I'm curious to see the sequel, though. I've heard that one's better. But then on the Friday, I watched Jackass number 2. Actually, was that Thursday? That was Thursday. Jackass number 2. Technically, we watched the first half of this like 2 weeks ago. We never finished it because this is my mates on Discord. We never finished it, so we just watched the rest of it on Thursday night, and it was fun. I gave it 4 stars still. I have no real complaints about the movie. It's always great to watch them with people. Like, watching them by myself for the first time is great. Watching them with people is so much better, because I've watched it 3 times now. I watched it by myself, watched it with Noah, watched it with my mates. So, yeah, that was pretty fun. On the Friday, I did a lot of stuff. I watched the new For All Mankind. I watched the first 2 episodes of the MonsterVerse show, which I thought was kind of meh. I didn't really care much for the episodes. I'm like, they're okay. I'll probably binge them later on when they come out. I should note that 26 more goddamn notifications. Oh my god, so many people are watching the Scott Pilgrim show, and I'm getting a lot of likes on my app. Scavenger's Reign. I watched that. I watched the whole show because it was on Apple TV. No, it's on Binge. I got like Binge for $2 a month now, which is great. With ads, but I don't really care. Scott Pilgrim. Oh, one person like my Monarch Legacy of Monsters review. Scott Pilgrim. So many likes on my Scott Pilgrims. That's fine. A lot of people like my reviews for the Scott Pilgrim show. So Scavenger's Reign, I want to say quickly, fantastic show. If you haven't seen it yet, it came out recently on like HBO Max in the US, or Max, whatever the fuck they call it. Binge in Australia. Tremendous show. Probably the best show I think I've watched all year. Absolutely stunning animation, like insane stories and insane characters and insane body horror. It is wonderful. Such a trip to see that people can still do this with animation. That's like, I haven't seen someone do this kind of crazy ass shit with animation for ages. And then I watched Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, and I'm like, I guess people still do this kind of... It's a different kind of crazy, though. Scavenger's Reign, worth it. I wholeheartedly recommend watching it. It is fantastic. And then I watched... so I watched Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. I guess I might as well talk about Psycho first, actually. I watched Psycho 98. Go check out my review for it on... Again, I thought it was okay. It's not great, but it's okay. Again, check out my Calm Relax talk. It's in there. But yeah, Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. I thought it was amazing. I have no real complaints about the show. My god, 48 likes for my main review. I thought it was amazing. I did not expect Scott Pilgrim Takes Off to be what it is. I won't spoil it in case you haven't seen it, but basically by the end of the first episode, they're basically like, yeah, we're doing something completely different. I was expecting a straight adaptation of the comics, and I was expecting to see all that, and it's all living glory with references to the movie in terms of like visual symbolism and stuff, and like reflections and stuff. And they still do that stuff with the like, oh, if we want to talk about a certain thing, we can use like an animated version of the movie, which works fine for me. But then the rest of the show is like, oh yeah, we're doing something completely different, and I was like, holy shit. I binged it all in one day because I was busy the whole week, and I'm like, I got to do this now. It's tremendous. I really liked it. I gave it 4 stars. I don't think it's a perfect show because I don't like the American voice actors. Obviously, some of them are really good. Like the guy who plays Matthew Patel is great. Knives Chow, fantastic. Most of them are very dry because clearly they're like they're the actual actors from the movie, which is fine. It's like, hey, look at the back, and I'm like, great, whatever. But they're not. Half of them aren't voice actors. Like I saw a lot of people giving praise to to Michael Cera as Scott Pilgrim, and I couldn't tell it was him for the first episode. It wasn't until the second half of the season I was like, yeah, that does sound like him, but it didn't in the first half. It sounded like he had a raspy cough or something. So, yeah, I'm actually more interested to watch the Japanese version because I watched the clip of that the day before it came out, and I was like, this sounds so much better in Japanese, and it looks better, like the way that they talk, because obviously it's an anime, so it's kind of designed more for the Japanese voice actors, and their voice actors, they're not random celebrities who come in and do voice roles, so, I know it's different for Scott Pilgrim because these people were all in the movie, but I would like to see it in Japanese, so I'm going to do that soon, eventually. On the 18th, I watched Murder on the Orient Express, the 1974 film. I gave it 3 stars. Initially, I gave it 3.5, but I'm like, I guess I can give it 3.5 because it has the extra edge of being well directed and stuff. But it's like, I really just did not care for it. I've never seen an adaptation of the book. I've never read the book. I knew who the killer was, but I didn't exactly know how they killed the person, and because they're spoiled on the movie poster for the 2017 version. And I thought it was good. Like, it's well directed. It's got a good cast. I don't like the guy who plays Poirot because I don't know what the hell he's saying. And he's a British guy and he's doing a Hungarian accent. And it doesn't work. It does not work at all. He's kind of an asshole. I don't know. It doesn't work for me. I mean, it's still nicely shot. It's still well directed. It's got a great cast. But it's just like, I just don't really care. There's so many people. They're not utilized well enough. It's a long movie. It's alright. It's fine. I still gave it 3 stars. I'm like, it's probably a 3.5-star film, knowing that it's so highly rated and has like all these Oscars. I'm like, sure, I guess. Was it a slow year? I don't know. It's just, I don't know. I've seen better murder mysteries before. Like, I've watched Columbo episodes, and Columbo is so much more entertaining than goddamn Poirot. Like, Poirot's like, oh, you're all rich, and I know that most of you are probably murderers, so I'm gonna like stigmatize all of you. But then Columbo's like, I know you're the guy, and I'm gonna prove it. But I'm going to make you out yourself. It's going to be so much more fun. I'm like, yeah, Columbo. I did watch the Doctor Who Children in Need special from 2023. They released on YouTube. It was 5 minutes long. Apparently, you can log it on Letterboxd, so I did. It was cute. It was a bit cringy at first because it's the whole Dalek origin stuff. And I was like expecting, the Doctor's going to come in, he's going to say all the names, and I was like, oh my god, that's a great name. It's like, in some comedic tone, it works. The guy who plays Davros is great. But then it's the way they use the plunger, that won me over, so. I don't know if it's really canon, but it's fun. I thought it was cute. Then you have The Zone of Interest. I have not given this a star rating. It's probably 4.5 stars. This was a nightmare to watch. It is a beautiful film, done by the guy who, I think it's Jonathan Glazer or something. Yeah, Jonathan Glazer. It's a very good film. We watched it basically at like the kind of premiere in Australia, at least. They had 2 whole screenings for it because that's how popular it was. It was like everywhere in the country at 3 p.m. the movie was going to start. And it was really good. I've heard obviously a lot of mixed things. People at like at the wherever they premiered it, Sundance or whatever, the crap film festival, and it was like, oh, a lot of people were just like, it was really controversial. It's like, it's doing something narratively I've never seen before in a style of like time period of movies where I've seen a lot of, where you're like, another one of these movies? Seriously? Do we need more of these movies? And it's got a really interesting point of view to it, and I thought it was really, like, it's a beautiful film. it's definitely very different. If you don't know what it is going in, it's a bit jarring, especially because it's slow. It's more just, it's a day in the life, and it's like the horror of it is just lingering in the background the whole time. It's very well communicated. It's a very good film. I'd give it probably 4 to 4.5 stars. I definitely would recommend it. I won't say anything more about it, but it's very, very dour. It's not a very positive or optimistic or happy movie, so don't go in expecting that. You're not gonna get it. On the 19th, I watched Death on the Nile. Yeah, completely fucking different contrast, eh? Actually, it's the same night. I got home, I was like, I got 2.5 hours to kill, so I put on Death on the Nile, the original, not the remake, which I hated the remake. And despite having seen it, the remake, I really like this version so much better. The cast, tremendous. The guy who plays Poirot, so much better than the previous movie, and it's in the same continuity. He even references the Orient Express at the end of the movie. I gave it 3.5 stars. It's still no masterpiece, but I really liked it. I liked the pacing more. I liked the characters. Despite it being so long, it kind of just felt fleshed out more. You had more time with the characters and everything. It was really fun. Mia Farrow, tremendous. Great cast. Great cast. And then last night I watched Lyle Lyle Crocodile, and I don't ever want to talk about it again. I gave it 2 stars. I absolutely despised it. I mean, if I absolutely despised it, I would have given it 0.5 star. It still had some quality, but it was a film that was so mud-pudged and just messy and just clearly a crowd pleaser bullshit crap that I hate that some movies are. But then also like earwormy pop songs, which aren't even real songs. The crocodile, when he sings, isn't there in the room with them because it's clearly they had Shawn Mendes as the studio singing, and then they just cut it into the movie, and it just doesn't work because it doesn't feel like he's in the room with them because clearly he wasn't. Like, imagine standing there doing a song and dance number next to a guy in a green screen, like a green fucking suit, pretending to be an alligator, sorry, a crocodile, and he's just going like, you know, because he can't sing, because he's not singing, because it's not Shawn Mendes. And I might be wrong, he might have been there on set, but it didn't fucking sound like it. You know, there were parts where Javier Bardem is singing and Constant Wu is singing and dancing, and they sound like they're there. And it's great. I mean, the movie is still crap, but you know, Javier Bardem is good. Some of the actors are good. I don't like the kid that much. He's just got a punchable face. It's weird seeing Scoot McNairy in the film because he's great in *Halt and Catch Fire*, and then seeing him in this, I'm like, sure, I guess. I mean, you look at the poster and he's just going like, huh, I got a crocodile. What's going on here? And I'm like, yeah, what is happening? You have a crocodile in your fucking house and you don't do anything about it. Like, the way that they write and have paced the movie narratively doesn't make sense. To the point that they have this whole sequence where the kid discovers the crocodile runs, he chases the crocodile, but the crocodile's eating the cat, the neighbor's cat, both made of CGI. Gotta emphasize that. And he chases the crocodile into a dark alleyway. This homeless guy approaches him. Crocodile attacks the homeless guy, scares him off, whatever. And then it just cuts to the next day. And the kid's all happy, like, yes, I know everything now. Life is perfect. And then that night, back in his pajamas with the cat, oh, hey, look, we're like dumpster diving and stuff. And I'm like, okay, but a scene earlier, the neighbor had mentioned how the cat was eating something and gave him IBS or whatever the crap. And it's like, really, when did that happen? And then you see it in the next sequence in this dumpster diving thing. And they make this whole thing about how they're dumpster diving. Like, oh, look how crazy we are. And I'm like, so now we're seeing the cat eat stuff it shouldn't be eating. We're seeing the two bond and all this stuff that we should have seen 10 minutes ago. He's wearing the same clothes, the cat's there. I don't know why. Like, the cat doesn't hang out with them. The cat's not meant to be there. And yet, it was on the same night, but now it's suddenly there on 2 nights? It just doesn't work. It does my head in. Weirdly, like, if the film, if that wasn't so messed up in terms of the edit, I would have probably given it 2.5 stars. But yeah, I didn't care about the hap-sappy bullshit crap that you get from these generic-ass movies. It was boring. I mean, it was interesting at times. It wasn't really boring, but it was just like not my cup of tea. I don't like the songs. It's all, oh wow, this is uplifting song. This is sad song. This is we can do whatever song. This is sad song. This is reflection song. Look, there's flashbacks to the earlier scenes in the movie. Remember how everyone has their small character arcs, like, oh, we'll have 2 minutes for this person, 2 minutes for that 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 person. We won't develop any of it, and just have payoff 2 minutes, payoff for 2 minutes, payoff for 2 minutes, payoff for 2 minutes, payoff for 2 minutes. Everything's so simple and easy and as underdeveloped as possible. Literally just the blanket easy peasy movie that you can go and watch with your 5-year-old kid who will be like, wow, singing crocodile. And you'll be like, yeah, 7% alcoholic intake vodka glug. I don't know. I literally said the only people who can enjoy this movie are 5-year-old kids and people who've taken their antidepressants. So, yeah. Because if they hadn't, they would have killed themselves whilst watching it. So, yeah, wouldn't suggest it. We're back for more. I'm pretty sure I've covered the Half-Life 25th anniversary doco and The Lost City. I talked about those, didn't I? It's annoying because I can't remember if I filmed that part. So I guess I'll just cover them again. I watched The Lost City, I got the 4K, I watched it, I gave it 3 stars. I thought it was fun. It's pretty generic kind of action adventure, but it's not bad, you know. I watched the 4K. I got it on sale? Yeah, it was like a 2 for 30% off, so it was like $15 or something. I don't know, it was fine. Half-Life documentary was fun. I think the funniest part about it is I've never finished the game. I've played Half-Life 2 and finished both that and both of the episodes, and I've never finished the original game. I've hardly played the original game. I played like the majority of Black Mesa, and then they hadn't finished the beta, so I couldn't finish it. And then I got a new computer, and I couldn't continue the game because I hadn't officially bought it because it was the beta. So I never was able to finish it. But I know the gist of it, so it was a good doco, well produced on YouTube. Then I got the Criterion 4K of The Others. This was really good. Basically, I think I got it in, and Mum was immediately like, "Oh, you got to watch that. That's really good." And it's really something when Mum is the one saying that I should be watching a horror movie. She did that for another one I watched a couple days ago. You know. And it was really good. I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. The Criterion was exceptional. The 4K, beautiful. I know it's the same copy that Studio Canal has, so, you know, do with that what you will, but I wanted to get the Criterion because it came with the extra special features, and I got it, I believe, a bit more reduced on Amazon. But yeah, mostly I wanted to get the commentary and stuff as well. But it was great. A beautiful, beautiful transfer. A really good film with twists I did not expect. I did not expect the direction it would go in. I was like, holy shit. So that's good. On the 23rd, I watched My Bloody Valentine. I gave this 4 stars. I figured I was getting up to watching Thanksgiving, the new one from you'll see it in the two films time. And I was like, on Facebook, everyone was talking about how Thanksgiving is like this movie and that movie, and this movie and that movie. So I was like, well, someone had said it was like My Bloody Valentine. So I figured, look, I haven't seen My Bloody Valentine. I've had the Scream Factory edition for I think I got it earlier this year, if not last year. And luckily, it actually tells me on the Blu-ray.com app as to when I actually scanned them onto my phone, which is beautiful, except for when I first got the app and scanning all the rest of them in. So there's at least 1,000 odd that have the same day, or the same week. Either way, beautiful. I watched the uncut version. I don't think I even noticed anything different, but apparently it's like a good solid 10 minutes longer or something, and there's a lot more gnarly kills or something. Maybe it's 3 minutes longer with some gnarly kills. I didn't notice any issues with any of the video, but the kills were great. It was a very different style of slasher, and it's really fun to watch the late 70s, early 80s, when slashers were still trying to find their style and what exactly they were going to do. Not exactly trying to formulate Halloween, but also trying to at the same time, get off the craze, but also do something different at the same time when they're still being fun and experimental. So yeah, it's really weird to watch those, and it's great. Also, it's Canadian, so it's like the main character has the most Canadian accent, and it's fucking hilarious. I couldn't take it seriously. It's great. I love the accent. It's so goofy in a horror movie. I guess that's why Fargo works so well for me, you know. Then on the same night, I watched Peggy Sue Got Married because it was on the Criterion Channel. I gave that 4 stars. I really liked it. I didn't, and a lot of these movies I go in blind. I'm trying my best to just go in blind and not know what the premise of a movie is, and so I didn't know it was a time travel movie. And it starts at this like 25-year. Oh, we graduated high school 20 years ago, or whatever, or maybe it was 50 years ago, or was just, I don't know, some bullshit. And I'm like, wow, Nicolas Cage looks old, but fake old. And then I realized when they're like, oh, she wakes up and it's the 50s again. I'm like, I think it was the 30th anniversary because it was like the 80s. And I was like, oh my God, it's, 1986. And I'm like, oh, I get it now. They're all like pretending to be old. So when they're young, they're actually young. And I didn't realize it was like Nicolas Cage's like first acting gig, which makes so much sense because he's like amazingly terrible in this film. I love his performance, but he's like so bad but so good in some scenes. It's bizarre. He's very funny and then very dramatic and then very bad at doing both at the same time. Bizarre movie. But the girl who plays Peggy Sue is really good. But yeah, that was a fun one from Coppola. One of those you don't really think about the film because I never really considered that as one of his films because I didn't know it was one of his films. I'd heard of the movie. I think I knew that Nicolas Cage was in it, but yeah, knowing it's a Coppola film, and I'm like, oh well, it makes so much more sense when you watch it and you're like, wow, Sofia Coppola's a bad actor, coming from the guy who hasn't seen Godfather 3 yet. Anyway, on the 25th, I did a double feature. I watched Thanksgiving with my girlfriend because they had $11 tickets at Hoyts, and it was like, hell yeah, and it was like Black Friday, so it was like, it was the Thanksgiving weekend. It made sense to watch it that weekend. We're going to watch it the Friday night, but we're busy. So we did it on the Saturday instead. And that was really fun. Oh my God. I gave it 4 stars. It's so strange seeing such an inventive horror film. Especially because so many slashes are so formulaic. Especially now, like you look at the Scream films too, and even those are like formulaic. I still enjoy them. But I like when they do something different. I'm like, strive for something different, for the love of God. I don't give a shit that you're in Manhattan. Do something else. Have some fun with it. And this movie had fun with it. Like, I've known about, obviously, this movie since the Grindhouse double feature, and I really should have rewatched that trailer because a lot of the stuff that's in the trailer is in the movie, which kind of makes it more fun in a way. But yeah, I'm not a huge Eli Roth fan either. I think I looked into it, and I'd seen a couple of his films. I've seen Knock Knock, which I don't care for, and I think that's actually it. Yeah. And there's like no other films of his that I have any interest in. The Death Wish film, Cabin Fever, Hostel, sorry. The new Borderlands film that apparently is going to be awful. All the films that he's done I've not seen except for Knock Knock, and I don't think that film was very good. I don't give a shit. It's goofy as hell, and it's fun to watch both Keanu and Anna for like 2 different reasons. So, yeah, you know exactly what 2 different reasons I'm thinking of. Either way, Thanksgiving was like, wow, this guy can actually make a good movie. Who would have thought that when he has a passion project, it pays off. So, yeah, I don't like it stole the ending to a 2014 film called The Guest, which sucks. That it stole the ending, that is. But outside of that, the rest of it was really fun, really gory. It's good stuff. But we followed that up with the Cinemaniacs. They screened Sleepwalkers, the Stephen King adapted movie by Mick Garris from 1992. I loved it. I gave it 5 stars, which is ridiculous for a movie that's basically about incest's alien cat thingies. Well, not really aliens. They're just vampire-like cat beings that a mother and son and do a lot of dirty stuff with each other. And also try to kill, what's her name? Madchen Amick? I always pronounce her name wrong. Yeah, Madchen Amick. The chick from Twin Peaks. My girlfriend at one stage said, hey, is she a model or something? Because she's really attractive. I'm like, I don't know if she was. I'm pretty sure she was, but I'm like, yeah, no shit, she's fucking hot. I mean, like, very attractive. Like, most of the girls who are in Twin Peaks. Beautiful. So, yeah, but I really adored this film. I absolutely loved it. I know Phil and Katie didn't care as much for it, so when we were talking to fucking Jarrett, who did the talk beforehand, we're talking to him and Lee about it, and they were saying how, like, oh, you know, like, Phil and Katie were like, yeah, it was alright, it was whatever, and like, and I was like, don't worry, Lee, I fucking loved it. Like, everything about it was perfect for me. Like, 90 minutes, the first half an hour is romantic, the second half an hour of chaotic, the third half an hour, the most batshit insane stuff you'll ever see, with both, like, amazing practical effects and some great optical effects, like Life Force. I fucking loved it. Yeah, I need to get this on Blu-ray. Especially, I think it's the Arrow release, has a interview with, I think, at least a commentary track with the director and Lee Gambon. So that would be amazing to get. I need to find that because I fucking love this movie. It was wonderful. I'm trying to rarely give out 5 stars to unless it's like I really really love it. So yeah, I don't know. It just was great. Then I guess I don't really want to mention it too much, but we did start watching Doctor Who because the specials are out, and we watched the Star Beast. I didn't give it a star rating on Letterboxd. I gave it 4 stars on my serialized. It was fun. I wasn't wholeheartedly into every aspect of it, but I was also like, I dig it. I didn't expect it to be every episode's going to have, like, its own story, but there's going to be an overarching story. I'm like, alright, I forget that they actually do that with Doctor Who. TV shows, what the fuck is that about? No, but seriously, it's good. Doctor Who's back, and it's good again. It's insane. I gave up on Whittaker after the first season. I could not stand the writing. Whittaker was fine, the actors were fine, but Chibnall was terrible. And I'm like, damn, if only they had, like, a good writer on that show and a good showrunner, maybe they would have actually given Jodie Whittaker a good fucking character to play. Instead, they gave her, like, bits and pieces of everyone else, and it just did not work. She had no character for herself. It was terrible. So that's why I stopped watching it. But yeah, of course, new specials. I'm loving them. I'm hopeful for the rest of the season, the rest of the specials, and I'm hopeful for next season as well. I'm very excited. So, yeah. But obviously, the what I watched in December, I'll mention Doctor Who. I watched Tourist Trap because Phil and Katie were like, you gotta watch Tourist Trap. Mostly because I'd also watched, what was that other movie that was like Tourist Trap? House of Wax, the remake. And I gave Tourist Trap 4 stars. I really liked it. The Blu-ray copy I had was pretty shit. It's also not the uncut version, so it was like, despite it saying 90 minutes in the case, it was like 85 minutes, apparently. And yeah, so that's not great. It was like, I don't know what production house did the Blu-ray, but I've had the Blu-ray for a good number of years now, and that was before the 2020 release of the uncut version by the exact same studio, so at least Blu-ray house. So they really someone needs to, like, get Arrow Video or Criterion or Arrow Video more likely to come in, do a Region B release, even though this was all regions. So didn't really, was it all regions or was it Region A? I don't really remember. It doesn't matter. But they should come in, do a full 4K scan, because my god, that movie deserves it. And it is a wild fucking movie. Like, again, the times when this is 1979, when, like, it's not a slasher film, but it kind of is, but it's also like, it's like they don't know what a slasher film really is yet, which is insane. And it's just doing whatever it wants. And it's like, I'm like, is this a ghost movie? No, it's not a ghost movie. It's something actually very, very different. And then it gets even more insane. It's really fun. I'd suggest Tourist Trap. It's a bonkers movie. Yeah, unless you're scared of mannequins and wax figurines. So yeah. It's also, but it is similar to House of Wax, the remake. But they're also two distinctly, nicely different films. So you can watch them and not have the same experience, because they're, like, basic premise is the same. But the rest of it's very different. But then I watched Happy Birthday to Me, because I had the Blu-ray for a while now, and Mum had actually watched it when she was a teenager, so she also came in and watched parts, especially the Shish Kebab part. It was alright. I gave it a 3.5. I probably feel like it's more of a 3-star film, but I didn't really give it the like that I do on Letterboxd for a lot of these films. I didn't care that much for it. It was like, it's really long. It's like almost 2 hours. It's a lot of psychobabble. Is this actually happening? Is that happening? The character's like delusional. All this bullshit. It's a lot of stuff, and it's like it leads you on a lot. It does have some inventive kills. There's some fun stuff in there, but then it kind of gives up on the whole masked killer giallo aspect and just becomes, oh, this is who the killer is. And you're like, yeah, I kind of guessed that. I figured it was anyway. And then, like, the twist at the end is just, it's so insane. They literally needed like 3 whole minutes of exposition just to get you to understand what the fuck any of this is. And I thought it was kind of dull. Like, it's still iconic. It gives the film an extra edge to it that I'm like, well, I mean, if not for that twist, it probably would have been a kind of dull ending. I was expecting that the twist ending would be that the main character's brain, who she's had surgery on her brain, and that's why she thinks she keeps forgetting all the kills that keep happening. I thought the twist was going to be that they had put part of her mother's brain into her brain to like repair it, and her mother's vengeful side has come out and been triggered by a certain event, and then has come out and she blacks out, and that her mother's taken over and kills people, but it's not. So it's a lot more boring than that. It's not really a lot more boring. It's a lot more Mission Impossible than that. So yeah, it's all right. But then yesterday, I watched on the Criterion Channel Hardcore. Yeah, you see that poster? My mate has that poster as a t-shirt. It's the only reason I watched the movie, because he said that he had that poster as a t-shirt, and his mum saw it and was just like, you should not wear that shirt. That shirt's disgusting. Even though she had no idea what the film was about. Neither did he. He hadn't watched it yet. He didn't watch it till I watched it last night, and then I made my review on Letterboxd saying, hey, my mate has the poster of this shirt, as a t-shirt. And he hasn't even watched it yet. It's technically a Christmas film. You could wear it for Christmas. And so he then decided to watch it because it was on the Criterion Channel leaving today that I'm filming on the 30th. And yeah, I really liked it. It's definitely a not as good version of Taxi Driver. It's very... Schrader makes a lot of the same goddamn fucking movies. Whether he directs them or not. In this case, he just writes them. And it's like, yeah, he just writes the same movie over and over and over again. And sometimes they're absolutely bangers. And sometimes they're like, yeah, they're alright. But I liked it. I liked George C. Scott in it. I thought he was insanely good. It's weird because a lot of people hate his performance, and I'm like, I don't know. I was watching, I'm like, I believe him in this role, I don't think it nails the ending, but it has a kind of Chinatown aesthetic to it that I really liked, so it worked enough for me that I gave it 4 stars. I'd watch it again, not anytime soon, but it has a great score as well. The visuals are stunning. Great cinematography, so yeah. And then I watched today in cinema, I finally got to watch Bottoms. I've been waiting months, because this came out months ago in the US. It came out today, on the 30th of goddamn November in Australia, and I had 6,000 points at Hoyts, so I just went there and bought a $1 ticket. $1 ticket, baby! I rarely ever get to do that, $1 tickets. It's usually $8 and 5,000 points, or it's $1 and 6,000. If you get 7,000, it's a complimentary ticket, and if you get 8,000, it's complimentary extreme screen, which is insane to me. Yeah, so I really liked it. I gave it 4 stars. It's still very... If you've seen a teen kind of rom-com-ish thingy, you've seen this movie before, like narratively, but the way that they structure it, the fact that they're lesbians basically is the main key difference. But also it's Fight Club, and I didn't expect that. I hadn't watched any trailers or anything. I just knew it was about 2 gay losers who people don't like, and I was just like, okay, sure. And I had Rachel Sennott in it, who co-wrote it. Emma Seligman directed it, and I love her previous film. Yeah, Rachel Sennott. I really liked her previous film, which was Shiver Baby. Yeah, I really liked Shiver Baby. I gave Shiver Baby 5 goddamn stars, but that was months ago. But yeah, Bottoms was great. I loved a lot of the actors in it. I loved a lot of the performances, the cartoonishness especially. I didn't know it was going to be as cartoonish as it was. I kind of wish I did, because it was really cartoonish, which is great because the final act is insanely outlandish, and I'm just like, oh my god, this is great. I wish I had known that going in. I wish I had a better crowd. I think if you have a great crowd, I feel like this would be a banger to watch because it's like laugh out loud, amazing stuff. But without a good crowd, I'm just there chuckling to myself like, oh, this is funny. This is fun. I'm having a great time. But this isn't like Jackass Forever where me and my mate Guy went and saw it and we're fucking cacking ourselves the whole goddamn time. I know that's more like immature, boyish humor of grown men mutilating themselves and it's funny. But at the same time, yeah, it's grown men mutilating themselves and it's funny. This is lesbians not mutilating themselves, but doing other stuff and it's funny. But yeah, it also has a great respect for like just both queer cinema um, and female driven cinema and female driven characters, and I loved how they balanced that. It was great, you know, especially because it's not overly like, oh, we've got to be completely progressive and like, if you want to say woke, then whatever. But like, they weren't leaning like hard into it because it's got this more cartoonish style. It's not really about that. I mean, they literally have the word faggot written on two of the girls' lockers, and I'm like, oh shit, they're literally pulling out the F word here. Like, that's how the level of cartoon they're going for here. That like, not like everything can kind of fly in a way, but not that it's like specifically hurtful. Like even the characters themselves are known as the lesbians, but they're the uncreative lesbians. That's why no one likes them, because they're uncreative, not because they're lesbians. Which I'm like, so it's not because they're homophobic, it's just because they're boring people. I'm like, wow, who would have thought it? So I feel like it reminded me a lot of Booksmart. So I feel like it'd be a great companion piece for that, and I love the Booksmart, so yeah, I do want to rewatch Bottoms though. I really enjoyed it. There's a lot of background comedy that's just like, because you're so focused on the characters in the foreground that you don't realize that there's like people fucking around in the background. I'm like, I need to watch this again. So yeah, it's the one I was looking forward to the most this year. It didn't disappoint. It disappointed two of my friends who did watch it, who were like, it's alright. One of my friends in particular doesn't care much for. I was gonna say he doesn't care much for queer cinema, but he liked Bros, so he just thought this was like okay. I feel like if I mentioned how it felt like Booksmart to me, he'd be like, yeah, that's probably why I didn't like it, because he didn't care much for Booksmart, so, yeah, that's alright. I think, much like with Booksmart, the first viewing of this film, I won't love it as much because I don't know exactly what I'm gelling with, but I think on rewatch I'll like it a lot more, so, I'm keen for a Blu-ray release, thank you very much. But then I concluded tonight with Night Riders, which I gave 4.5 stars. It's the George Romero film, the basically one movie he made that wasn't a horror film, which is basically his commentary on the hippie lifestyle ending, the art freedom movement, and how they're just a bunch of filmmakers who want to do whatever they want and make whatever films they want, but because of budget and restrictions and corporate greed and all this kind of overshadowing forces, life inevitably takes a toll and kind of kills you. And it's all shown in this like fable of like King Arthur, and they're on motorbikes. It sounds outlandish, but it's actually a really beautiful film. And again, I gave it 4.5 stars. I really loved it. It's like 2.5 hours long, and I'm just like, look, my brother's out watching the comedy show. My parents are watching Apple TV in the next room. I can put it on. It leaves Criterion Channel the next day. I figured I might as well. I kind of want to get a physical copy so I can listen to the commentary, because apparently the commentary is really good. So, yeah, it's beautiful. It's a terrific film. It's probably, like, I could argue it's his best film, but I love Day of the Dead more. But yeah, I don't know. There's just something about this film that it works for me really well. It flows beautifully. It's shot the cinematography, the music, everything about it works really well. I just really dig it. So dug it. I'm tired. Thanks for watching. That's all. I guess. Fuck. I guess I'll see you next year. Because obviously, what I watch in December will come out in January next year. So yeah, it's very unusual for me because I only started doing these what I watched in this month as of this year, so yeah. But I mean, look, people still like watching these videos. I still like making them. I'm gonna probably delay a bit more of the releases because it depends on how it is. It's Christmas time now, so I've got like Like, even filming this, I was going to film this tomorrow, but now I can watch For All Mankind instead. Tomorrow is the 1st. This won't come out on the 1st. I don't think this will come out till the 3rd. Because I'm just like, I got work tomorrow, I got a work Christmas party, I got to go out on Saturday for my mate's birthday, then Sunday's Doctor Who, and hopefully Godzilla -1. So, yeah. I don't know, it's busy times, but, yeah, I don't know, this is fun. Yeah, cool. Thanks for watching. And you can always follow me on Letterboxd to get daily releases and updates of what I'm watching and serialized. I never link my serialized, but you can find me there somehow. I don't know. I really should link it. I'm on Instagram as well. What does it matter? But yeah, so if you want full in-depth reviews, I do all that stuff on Letterboxd. So go check them out. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching. Ciao.